yo, never let media control your mind. They're using propaganda to keep us mentally blind. So it seems like total destruction's the only solution. This is my contribution to the revolution. You're on a mission with selfish ambition, trying to climb the ladder just to reach a high position. But yo, all their plots and schemes are turning into nothing but a bunch of shattered dreams.
Hey yo, Osama bin Laden is not the big problem for Americans. George Bush is the real terrorist. Y'all are not aware of this? He's just claiming his inheritance. Remember who his brother and his parents is holding.
One thing I like to say is that I'm a former Marine. I fought in Iraq. I know what you're talking about as far as rockets and you know, the combat zone. You speak about a balanced news or balanced media or balanced information, yet you yourself are unbalanced and that there's only one person here. Why not, instead of talking about what's going on, the fighting, how about the movement of the peace movement between Jews and Muslims and Christians? Why not speak about that? Why not bring up the people to speak about trying to help the conflict, trying to solve it, instead of causing more fear-mongering and more misinformation, or if not misinformation, at least giving information alongside someone else that can give information, instead of having yourself by yourself. Have a Palestinian Muslim, a Palestinian Christian.
No more for killing and for bettering things. Helped orchestrate that election he rigged. Brains are small, but his weapons are big. Hey yo, World Trade tragedy, great opportunity to raise popularity, bring down tyranny. He wants war, let him be the first in line. The worthless slime, the motherfucker deserves to die. Saddest thing about September 11th was to find out they didn't take out the White House.
I think the student organization that presented this, they should present both sides. That's what you should do.
What about settlements? I'm pretty sure that there are
Okay,
a lot of
define settlement, please.
A settlement?
Define settlement, yes.
Why don't you define a settlement as an Israeli Jew?
You mentioned settlement.
Well, you mentioned that you're not allowed to live within the Gaza or West Bank, which are occupied territories, right? But what about settlements within those territories? There are a lot of Israeli Jews living within those occupied territories, which is considered illegal and under international law.
That's a whole different discussion point, but again, what is settlement according to you? What is occupied territory?
A settlement is like a new term for colonization, pretty much.
Is what, sorry? According to who?
It's a Zionist movement to reclaim land.
Occupied territory is territory that is taken by force.
You get an educated person, someone that's been educated, has educated himself with facts and statistics and everything like that, and you come to the university and you speak to students who are passionate about what's going on. I'm not a Palestinian side, I'm not a Jewish side, I'm not an Israeli side. I'm here to, I'm talking about peace. And yet you talk...
You're educated, so what is...
No,
I'm trying to get this because I'm trying to explain why Sderot is, according to international level, all means this is Israel's sovereignty, nothing to do with settlements.
We're talking about settlement, we're talking about...
One second, the fact is recognized as a settlement. The other side of the story is to explain this political term settlement is not really understanding what we're dealing with. And the focus you're having about settlement is not the root of the conflict, not the root of the problems.
An event upstairs where they're saying that Iran is donating supplies to Hamas, and it's just pure propaganda. And they're not really explaining what went on in Gaza at all. They're dismissing it. Human rights violations, war crimes. So we're out here giving our perspective on it. And I think if people want to hear their side, they should hear our side as well.
Definitely. Oh, yeah.
I'm here because I think that especially the media coverage and the climate on the campuses in the United States, the coverage of the situation in Israel and the occupied territories is really grossly imbalanced. What Americans hear about the situation there, you know, they hear that Palestinians are terrorists and that Israel is defending itself, but they don't really understand the asymmetrical nature of this. They don't understand the force that the Israeli state is using, that the Israeli military is using. They don't understand the effects of the blockade on Gaza right now. People are dying because they can't get medical supplies into Gaza right now. They don't understand the extent of the devastation, the house destructions, the olive tree bulldozing, the limitations of the checkpoints and the walls in other parts of Palestine outside of Gaza. We're here today to explain that for every one Israeli that was killed in Kastled, and in the 10 years before, actually, 100 Palestinians have died. And in the time from 1948 up until 2000, the ratio was one Israeli for every 10 Palestinians. And people in Israel, some people in Israel, not everyone of course, think that this is somehow justified. That point of view is spread out here in America. So we're trying to make it clear that the Palestinians have a right to live in peace, and that whatever strategies they're using in self-defense. Hamas was part of the elected government in the Palestinian territories, and at times Israel has found them to be an appropriate partner for discussions, and at times it has not. I think that there's a lot of manipulation that goes on there, and I think that a lot of that has to do with building up a sort of positive attitude towards a possible attack on Iran. There's been a lot of coverage in the media recently, particularly Jeffrey Goldberg's article in The Atlantic last month, sort of building up these scare tactics about what's going to happen with Iran and the U.S. and Israel in the next few years. And I think that, this is part of a propaganda push to include it in that.
End the siege of Gaza. We're here to counter the propaganda that the Israeli student group here insists to continue pushing. They keep trying to justify Israel's war crimes and their siege of Gaza by using misinformation and using the excuse of a few firecracker-like missiles hitting the edges of Sderot, which is on occupied land in the first place, and using that excuse to hold an entire population under siege and commit those continuous war crimes against them. Even if Iran is supporting the people in Gaza, that's not a crime. I mean, they can't support them. And those people in Gaza have a right to self-defense. They're the victim. They're the ones who are being attacked and bombarded. And they have every right to self-defense. Whereas Israel is the occupier and oppressor. In all their presentations, obviously, they omit those facts. There is opposition to what Israel does, and anytime they put up an event like this, they're going to face strong opposition.
My purpose here is to show awareness for the people that either just watch the news but don't do their own investigation or don't acquire knowledge on their own and just get feeded through the media. They need to go out there on their own and look at what's going on, look at the numbers, look at the statistics, look at the studies, the reports that have come out of the UN, all the General Assembly, just everything that's going on, and learn for yourself. Don't get spoon-fed by someone else. I got spoon-fed when I was in the military, and I was told things that were obviously incorrect when we invaded Iraq, and that's one purpose that I told myself, that anytime that I see in the news, anytime that I hear something, I'm gonna go investigate it and I'm gonna go learn for myself, because I'm not gonna let no one else lead me astray anymore.
Israel's assault on Gaza and its siege on Gaza is disgusting and completely disproportionate to the response. It's just a fact. I mean, Operation Cast Lead, Israel killed over 1,400 people to the, 13 Israelis that were killed. And this was seen as a defensive move on the part of Israel, and there's nothing defensive about that. The war crimes that they committed, nothing is comparable to what Hamas did on the other side. The use of white phosphorus as weapons to attack people, the attacking of EMTs and ambulances, the shelling of hospitals, the shelling of schools. We're talking about a disgusting attack on these people. They can't defend themselves, and that's why I'm here.
I'm here in solidarity with the people of Gaza and Palestine, and also to challenge Texans for Israel and their propaganda campaign to discredit anti-apartheid activists.
You wanna talk about war, talk about the gold they stole from Africa. America was made on the backs of the black slave to stay paid. Half million in the Congo was slayed. Till this day in Zimbabwe they still uncover mass graves because of the diamond trade. America not involves a masquerade, a fashion raid. No dictator acts alone. America was there to condone that shit that went down in Sierra Leone. Poison the world with racist undertones and lies, and had a free ride with the rise of apartheid. But stood aside in Rwanda while poor people died. In fact, it was them that caused the bloodshed between the Tutsis and the Hutus, and made a battlefield off the streets of Mogadishu. And it's we who got to pay for all of this, and less corruption from the bottomless abyss. Don't get it twisted, Uganda and Kenya, they created a schism. In Swaziland they built the largest federal prison, so when the towers came down, I know you heard it was the worship, but the truth is, America deserved it, they earned it. When they burned shit in Somalia, they earned it. When they tried to fuck with Libya, and when they destroyed the emperorship of Ethiopia, created hysteria by hanging poets in Nigeria, murdered for more when they bloodied the soil, cause that country's got oil.